21 past the hour. If you remember back in, I don't know, the end of last year, the first of this year, when Obama started making his announcements about the normalization of relations between the United States and Cuba, the right-wing turkeys in this country started gobbling. Ted Cruz, who claims to be a Cuban American, he's actually Canadian American, but you know, he's got the name, right? I guess I'm Irish American, right? Because I have an Irish name. Wrong. But anyway, I digress. All of these right-wing half-wits who would do anything to find some country that we could be at war with, some country we could invade, some race of people that we can lock up or shoot down in the street, something. Always you got to have that thing working for you, right? So they went so far as to say that they would deny funds to pay for the establishment or building of a U.S. embassy in Havana, which they have not done. It opened today, you dumbasses. And the second thing was Cruz said that he would block the nomination of any ambassador. What about it? You know, they're like little babies, aren't they? Not babies, but I mean like 3 or 4-year-olds. If you don't play the way I want to play, I'll take my dollies and marbles and go home, and you can sit here in the sandbox and eat sand. That's what, right? Right? Jesus God. So now, Jeb Bush, I think this was today, I believe, according to thehill.com, Jeb Bush joined his party's denouncement of the Obama administration's historic move to reopen the American embassy in Cuba for the first time in 54 years. Bush called John Kerry's state visit to Havana for the opening of this embassy to be, Bush's words, quote, "It's a birthday present for Fidel Castro, a symbol of the Obama administration's acquiescence to his ruthless legacy," end quote. Bush added, "Cuba remains an unyielding dictatorship, a tragic example of the folly of communism, and an affront to the conscience of the free nations of the Western Hemisphere," end quote. Now, I'll tell you what, Jeb, you know, the folly of capitalism is what you should be addressing. Nobody gives a rat's ass about communism anymore. Really, Jeb, nobody cares. Certainly, the only people who care are the Christian right-wing fanatics in this country who are just constantly talking about the Palestinian communists who are trying to annihilate the good church-going Jews or something like that in the Middle East. That's how stupid we are in this country. You might as well see, Jeb Bush knows that. He knows how ignorant we are in this country. That's why he can say things like this. A symbol of the Obama administration's acquiescence to his, Castro's, ruthless legacy. Ruthless. No, I'll tell you what ruthless is, Jeb. Ruthless was your scum-sucking brother and his overlord, Dick Cheney, invading another country and murdering 1 million people. Now that, goddammit, Jeb, is ruthless. And you know what else is ruthless, Jeb? Torturing. How many people did your effed up brother and his overlord, Dick Cheney, how many people were scooped up and tortured? Huh, Jeb? That's ruthless. You want to talk ruthless? Get the thing out of your own eye before you notice the beam or whatever the hell it is in somebody else's, right? Jeb says when he's elected president, he will, quote, "reverse Obama's strategy of accommodation and appeasement and commit to helping the Cuban people claim their freedom and determine their future free from tyranny." Jesus Christ. One word for you. Guantanamo! Free from tyranny? Bush added, "Standing up for fundamental human rights and democratic values should not be an afterthought to America's Cuba policy. It should be its guiding principle." Let me try that again for you, Jeb. Guantanamo! Man. All these filthy, slimy Republicans are insisting that the U.S. recognition diplomatically of Cuba will only empower the Cuban government and further degrade civil rights on the island. Well, anytime Jeb wants to talk about human rights or civil rights, I'll tell you what, Jeb, you have so goddamn much to address in this country. You can start at these supermax prisons where people lock down for 23 hours a day. You can work your way through the prison system where 2.5 million Americans are in prison. And in the federal system, I forget the statistics, but in the federal system, was it 70, 80% are there on drug-related charges? If you also are interested in human rights, Jeb, you can address the issue of the torture that your half-witted brother and his overlord put together with all the help from all the real smart people who are now federal judges and college professors. You know, for you, Jeb Bush, to even open your mouth about human rights or about the denial of human rights to a people, you should be ashamed of yourself. You really, oh, that's right, you're a Bush. What do you know from shame? We'll be right back.